I'm Mason Mount. You're listening to the London is Blue podcast.
All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to another episode of the London is Blue podcast. As we said yesterday, we're going to be doing a different format, all right? And this is the start of it. So welcome to the first touch topic with the London is Blue, where we skip the normal trappings and dive right into a single subject. You already know myself, Dan, and Nick. But joining us for this quick conversation is Louis Beneventi, head of the Chelsea Echo, and according to his Twitter profile, Justin Bieber's chubby double. Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I think let me address the Justin Bieber's chubby double bit. I was very drunk and I'd watched The Dictator for the third time on the bounce at the beginning of quarantine, and I just like the ring when he goes Justin Bieber's chubby double, and I was like, you know what, we'll just leave it at that and haven't bothered to change it because you know what. YOLO.
It's easy to forget about those things too. Once you put it in your profile, you don't see it. Yeah, so no, it just lives.
People are like, you don't look anything like Justin Bieber. I said, no, I'm much hotter. There's a difference, okay?
I love it. All right. Well, Nick, what's going to be our topic for today?
Yeah, so to get into it, we are playing two have to go outside of the players out of contract at Chelsea at the end of the season, your Willians, your Pedros, etc. We know there's a floating target at the moment. Let's imagine it's June 30th. Who are the two players outside of those out of contract, Brandon, since we had a little trouble with this in the pre-read, that you would look to move out of Chelsea? And Danny Drinkwater can't be selected by anybody is the rule. So yeah, I think we all are in alignment there.
He's the free spot in the middle of your bingo card.
Yep. So
everyone hit on Danny Drinkwater.
Yep.
All right.
So Dan, why don't we start with you, Dan?
Ooh, okay. So if I'm getting two out, my preface is that I would want to make sure that I could get maximum return on value for the players I'm getting out. So it helps the club's balance sheet. So if I could get two out and bring two in.
Here comes N'Golo Kante.
Oh, no. N'Golo Kante stays. I would send Jorginho and I would send Kepa out. I think just in terms of the overall cost on a yearly basis for the players and kind of what might be available on a lower cost, given what potentially is going to happen from an economic situation. If you could get Kepa to go, and if you could get someone to pay his wages, if you could get Jorginho to go, maybe two back to Juventus, reunited with Sarri, those are the two that I would look to move on and see if we can't kind of fill either internally or, get kind of stopgap solutions or find kind of our next new number one keeper.
So then definitely the assumption is that there's an adequate buyer available, correct?
Correct, yes. That would be the other assumption we would need to make, which is maybe not a good assumption to make, but that's what I'm rolling with.
Yeah, you would probably have better luck with Jorginho than Kepa right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, there's an immediate market. His name is Mauricio Sarri. He works at Juventus. Have you heard of it? It's a club in Italy, club. And he's a big fan of his son.
All right. Nick, in case you're worried, Nick, I mean, for those that are like 14 and use Twitter a lot, that's Piemonte Calcio that's in FIFA. Just in case they get slightly confused.
So true. Brilliant. All right. Well, Louis, I guess, since you're on a little bit, who do you think you would want to move out, the two players, and why?
Well, I think, Dan, you're being horrible for Kepa because 70 million, 9-year contract. I think he's 24, 25. So, I think, stay in your lane, son. I think we'll start there. Secondly, see, I kind of want to look at getting rid of a centre-back. I'm just looking at this now, but I'm not 100% certain. I think Jorginho, I agree with. I think he's a superb player. I think there's no doubt that he's definitely excelled this season. I feel that he's kind of had the strings loosened a bit by Lampard this year. Like Sarri saying he couldn't pass a long ball last year, and then we've seen him do about 4.5 billion of those this year. You're like, oh wow, he actually can do it. So I think it's one of those where I think he's superb, but he's too much of a specialist player. And the problem we have at the minute is if you look at that midfield, you're looking at probably a 3 at the back, so a 3-4-3, or you're looking at a 3-5-2. Jorginho always puts in horrendous tackles because he can't tackle. Not his fault. It's just something he can't do. And I think that, you kind of want a bit more of an all-rounder. So when people always talk about how good a passer Jorginho is in that deep line position, he doesn't have the coverage in front of him just yet. So I'd rather cash in on him because he is 28 and do that now rather than wait for him to turn 30 and sign somebody who can offer that cover, because at that point you're not going to get the same revenue return. I am just looking at older players here. That's what I've been doing while we were talking. I would have sold Willian like 3 years ago, but we did turn down 60 million. But whatever floats your boat. I'd probably look at Ross Barkley as another person to get rid of potentially. Even though he kind of had a slight renaissance towards the back end of this season, obviously he played really well against Everton, played well against Liverpool. I feel that, you've got Loftus-Cheek coming back into the side, who's 2 years younger and is just as good, if not better. So that's one of those where he's someone else you could look at. You've got Billy Gilmour as that young player to come in as someone who potentially could make a difference as well. And I'd like to put forward Michy Batshuayi as another one. I think it's a toss-up between him and Barkley for me, because Batshuayi is just great on Twitter, but not anywhere else. So
a thought there. So, obviously Meady's an interesting one, but I think the Barkley one's a good shout, because you can look at the likes of maybe like Conor Gallagher out there. If you want to promote another youth midfielder into the team maybe next season, that again reduces the wage bill, brings in another player, gives it a fresh rotation. And Barkley, it's had enough good performances, I think, this season that there would be a club out there and interested for him. Like, there will be a Ross Barkley market, which is crazy to think about in terms of saying, Nick. I don't think we would have said that maybe the beginning of the season when he kind of had that massive downturn in performance, but with the rebound a little bit, I think he's definitely in a place where someone would come in for him.
Yeah, I mean, if I could jump in on the Michy one, like he was someone that I was looking at, to be fair, because I think if I had to keep one of our other center forwards, it would be Giroud, and it's not even remotely close at this moment in time. And even though I think Giroud's wages will be expensive, it's still probably worth a 1-year deal just to see if he can help us out for another year. Michy's tough because I don't think he fits in. He's still young, and so there could be a market for him, but his performances haven't been good enough to really warrant like a decent enough bid to make it worth our time. Like if we could only do this 2 sales thing, like you're probably not getting your maximum return for Michy. And so then I'm kind of thinking, do I pivot off of him and do I go look at the midfield, because we're also high on Billy Gilmour and we want Ruben Loftus-Cheek to come back healthy. And, we all kind of agree on Jorginho right now. Like, is there another spot that would free up, what is, the most stacked position in our team? I'm not sure right now. I don't ever want to sell N'Golo Kante. I think Kovacic is our player this season. It would be ludicrous to sell him after the shift that he's put in this year. You got Billy, you have Ross, you some of these guys who will never play for us again. Probably Lewis Baker, Van Ginkel, etc. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to play 6 in midfield to fit all these guys in that we want to play, and it's just hard. So I'll go with Jorginho, and I think I'm going with someone like Rudiger, which is a weird one.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You are a Rudiger stan too, Nick.
Well, elaborate on that. Obviously, I think a lot of people would be surprised that out of all the center back options, you go with him.
Right. So midway through the season, it would have been Christensen, no doubt in my mind, just due to form. But I'm kind of looking at both of them. Christensen's a couple years younger. I think probably is the better passer of the two. The way that Frank wants to play this system, I think we've seen that they're both adequately bad in the air defending. So, if I'm just being kind of honest about who I think I could get the most return from out of those two, it would probably be Rudiger. And I know that sucks, but we all, I think, see the desperate need for a top class center back to come into the club and anchor for years to come. And I don't know if we have that guy right now. So it's a harsh one, I know, and I love Rudiger, but if we're just playing the math game, I think that's the way to go.
You look at every single position, though. Like, I think the biggest problem that we have is it's just in general there is an issue with the spine. We don't have that, and you look at the major sides; they all have that. Rudiger's a really interesting one because I can see where you're coming from, but when I look at the finances, I feel, even though he's been great, if I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Christensen, I feel you would get more value out of, because when you're talking financially, you sell him to a Mönchengladbach again, or he goes to Barcelona or an AC Milan, or a small, maybe not Barcelona, but a smaller club. Then you get a sell-on. You put a sell-on fee, goes to a Barcelona, goes to a Real Madrid for a good portion of money. You then get more finances through the door because he is so young. Whereas Rudiger, it's kind of okay, we'll sell him to one club. He then hits maybe 30, and then by that point, it's almost redundant. You're not really going to get any value out of that at all. But it's like, I don't know. There's so many ways to look at this. I love it. It's so three-dimensional.
It's hard, though. Like, final point on this, to counter your counterpoint, Rudiger is homegrown and doesn't cost us nearly as much as
Christensen's homegrown.
Oh yeah, sorry, Christensen's homegrown. Rudiger was a transfer fee, so we're paying amortized wages with Rudiger, even though he didn't cost us as much as some of our other top underperforming talent. So it's an interesting one, right? Because Christensen probably has 2 deals left in him. Rudiger has 1. And it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. But I see them both ways. Like Zuma, I don't think we're going to get a ton from Zuma in return. And I think, it's Everton, would look at him. There are probably some other Premier League clubs that would look at him, but he can really only play in a 2, not a 3. But he's
also our best aerial center back at the moment as well.
By far, right? Yeah.
So look, pack it in, defend like all hell. Zuma's your man, right? For that middle of the table clubs, which we saw him do really well. Everton. Well, I'll jump in right away. So my first pick was actually Christensen. And I know I'm in the minority on a lot of this. I just haven't been that impressed with him this season for whatever reason. I know a lot of people disagree, but to me, when I look at my center backs, I want them to at least be able to physically impose themselves on a striker. I want them to be able to put in a hard tackle. And so maybe it's just my preference of player. Christensen is a very smooth player that reads the play well, to your point, but I don't really see him getting stuck in, and I don't really see him disrupting the other team's attack. And to me, I feel like that's really important, especially when you go into Europe. That is an advantage that English teams have, is that they can be a little bit more physical and put European teams off their game. Now, the other reason I'm thinking that, and I understand your Rudiger comments, but I look at what Van Dijk did at Liverpool and how you can literally pair him with anyone and they are immensely better. So to me, I go, all right, well, if you pair him with a world-class center back, let's assume that Rudiger can now hit higher levels and still be a bit of a general and still be a bit of a nasty bastard at times. I like that side of him. And again, it could be purely my stylistic preference on that, and I understand. Christensen, just even on his good games, I think I've been like, and you guys have all been like, he was great. And I'm just like, I just didn't see it. So I totally understand that. That's probably just a choice for me on that one.
I'm starting the campaign for more bastards at Chelsea Football Club.
Oh, yeah.
More bastards.
I put a tweet out about Fabian Delph being one of those players where, he was a bit of a bastard, and he was someone who just did the hard work and did the groundwork for City.
Yeah.
And there was another one about Dennis Wise doing his coaching, and people are like, it's not important. You just need to be playing beautiful football. It's like, well, no, every team needs to have that bastard. Every team needs someone that does it all right. Yeah, but Cantona, I mean, if you look at,
made a career out of it.
He did. I mean, but in terms of being the bastard and someone who does the hard yards, you've got James Milner does it for Liverpool. Delph did it for City. I think for us, you've got Aspilicueta who's played everywhere along the back line where he's told to play. Mm-hmm. You've got Rudiger who did it in his first season and last season before he did he had that major injury where he was just putting in those hard yards, putting in those hard tackles. It's stuff like that where if you have those types of player, they can bring a lot on the pitch and off the pitch. The problem with Christensen is he's a massive confidence player. Mm-hmm. So he got turned inside out by Messi. and that was him done for ages. People weren't sold by him. Lampard then says, "Oh no, he's really good. I want to keep holding him." Starts playing him more, and as soon as Lampard's back to him and he's playing, Christensen's come out of the blocks. Is that somebody who long term is going to be someone who you can turn to in a Champions League final or a big league game and be right? I know you're going to dig in. I know you're going to do what we need you to do. Because as much as people say it doesn't matter anymore, it does. Because football's as much mental as it is physical. And I think a lot of people can't get their head around that sometimes. It's the emotional intelligence that you have as well as the game intelligence, which is so important. And I feel that, Rudiger does that.
There's the other element with Christensen too, where he is super fragile. So when he does go in for the physical element, and look, I love the Danish Prince. He didn't make my list of people that I would send out the door, but he has a problem with staying fit. Whether it's the hamstring issue, he's been concussed at least 2 times, probably more than that, and is where my worry and concern would be with him as a player is that, can you rely on him as a number 1/2 all the time, or is he a rotational player and is he okay with that?
And I should kind of,
I definitely could see where he's coming from. And I think any of the center backs you could pull out.
And I should probably clarify. So my approach is where are the biggest needs in the team. And I think, going along the spine, that's exactly where I'll be as center back and striker, because I'm not looking to maximize funds. I'm kind of looking at where the depth of the needs are. That's just my approach to this. And I feel like a center back, a top center back cleans up the outside backs. It cleans up the other center back. It can clean up the goalkeeper even. And that's critical because I really wanted to sell a left back. But if you think about it, they're probably good enough if we needed to. They're not ideal, but to me, the bigger opportunity, we've all seen the stats this season. Chelsea have created an immense amount of opportunities, haven't finished for shit. So I would move Michy purely in order to bring in a new striker, not because of finances or anything, but because whether or not Giroud stays, Tammy just needs someone else, either A, to take the burden off of him a little bit, so it's not only down to him scoring 25 goals a season, and also to give us, just some competition and to add goals that position. So again, just from a need standpoint, and then you've got your center mid with Kovacic and N'Golo Kante. You pretty much feel good there. You add another striker, either to boost Tammy or to take over Tammy, and then you've got a world-class center back. I think those are the 2 big changes that I would make to this squad and kind of the reasons why. So again, love Michy. At the end of the day, though, he just hasn't proven it no matter how many runs he gets and things like that. So, and now Lampard's essentially frozen him out as well. So it's kind of a, hey, we'll always be mates, but it's not working out.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, Chelsea's been putting on all of these matches from 2014-15. And as we were talking about bastards earlier, there is a difference between a hard tackling James Milner and complete shithousery in Diego Costa. Right?
I missed that.
And it's it proves to me a point that maybe works in Brandon's favor on his argument is if you could find a Diego Costa-esque, but maybe 10% less shithousery just to keep everyone fucking sane. Shithousery can come from anywhere, and especially if you have a dude who's just willing to run around and make center backs uncomfortable all game and maybe do a little eye scrape here, a little nudge there, whatever. I watched some of the shit he got away with that he would absolutely not get away with now with VAR.
Stepping on center back's feet.
Oh my God.
That's the issue, is that Diego Costa under VAR would have gotten plenty of red cards. Diego Costa without VAR, clean as a whistle.
So anyway, I think you can, in the effort to get more bastards at Chelsea, and shithousery is as a key component of that, I would hope that whoever we bring in has a little bit of that extra.
Ashley Barnes.
Ooh, what a bad taste in my mouth.
I put up my fist right away. I was like, no, absolutely not.
All right. Yeah, Burnley's bastards. He fits right in there. All right. Well, just to recap, Louis had Jorginho and Ross Barkley or Michy, cheating the system a little bit. I had Christensen and Michy. Dan had Jorginho Kepa, and Nick had Jorginho Rudiger as well. So let us know what you guys think. You have to have 2 out there. hit us up in the comments on social media, wherever you want to put them. Obviously on Discord is where we will be having that discussion. But that's going to wrap this one. Again, part 1 done. We'll have part 2 and 3 later this week. Louis, we're bringing it back for part 2 and 3. So buckle up. It's going to be fun.
Oh, it is.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, Chelsea fans. And until next time, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.